Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it.
Yo, there we go. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with a pretty sweet list from Ravenous Panda. A big thank you, and a big thank you for your support. 100k channel points is a pretty mean feat, so being able to trade those in for a list is, yeah, really cool. I definitely appreciate it. Appreciate seeing you at local events as well. So I will make that change while I say I'm appreciating you. This deck is a take on, it was at first green, blue, Simic lands, but we did add white as just a last change, which I really like. Hey Sahar, hey Past. But otherwise, yeah, this is pretty sweet. So we aren't playing Nadu, of course, which I do like. I like trying out some of these new cards like Talon Gates of Madara, which when ETBs you get to phase out a creature, which is pretty sweet. You can also put it into play off the straight from your hand for 4 mana, which is pretty cool as just a small way to ramp, I guess, if you do get to 4 mana. The other card that I have to kind of learn on the go is Springheart Nantuko, which is seeing a lot of play recently. This is a enchantment creature that you can bestow onto other creatures, and it has a landfall trigger that whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2 if it is attached to a creature you control. And if you do, you create a copy of the attached creature. If you don't, you get a 1/1 green insect token, which is pretty sweet. So you can kind of go wide with this card, or you can try to get some extra copies of things like Uro or Reclaimer, which is pretty sweet because it doesn't go away. It's not like until end of turn you get the copy, so that is pretty sweet. I haven't actually played with Vexing Bauble either, as a version of similar to Chalice, similar to like Lavinia. It is a good speed bump, but I wouldn't say it's a kind of I win on a stick because there are ways to play around it, but I do like Bauble here, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's a great point, Sahar. Dennis is a player who's put a lot of good finishes up with, especially like BANT depths, when we're talking like the Night of the Reliquary Reclaimer style build of depths. So being able to play with cards like Brainstorm in these sort of lists are really nice because there are times you draw the Tabernacle or the Maze of Ith or the Crackers that you actually want back in the deck. And you do have a lot of ways to fetch as well, of course. So Brainstorm does work out pretty well. Obviously with Dredge as well, you can do some pretty cool shenanigans with that as well. But phasing is something that I have to really understand as well, because I believe phasing is the object just is not in play until the next upkeep, but I'll get a little, we'll see what happens when we come to it. The core of the deck, the Loams, the Crop Rotations, the Explorations are there, the Mox Diamonds, obviously the Sagas as well. We did have a Field of the Dead in the deck, but moving to BANT, wanted to make room for more colored sources, which makes a lot of sense. One thing I do like is just the sideboard is very nice and clean. And we do have the Flutes as kind of a new card, which has, I think, a lot of potential in Legacy. Maybe not like a backbreaking card, but I think just a really good, powerful effect, especially with Flash, is really strong. So when it ETBs, you choose a card name. Spells with the chosen name cost 3 more to cast, and activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So that is pretty sweet. Apologies, I have the list like this from a recording earlier in the week. But yeah, we're pretty much looking to, I would say I would play this list towards winning with Saga, with Reclaimer and Uro as a backup, and then probably the Nantuko, and then probably the Depths. So I think I would say that this is obviously a lands list, but I would say most wins are going to come from Saga, potentially some from Reclaimer and Uro, maybe some from going wide with Springheart, and then probably some where we have the crop rotation in one piece. We're just saying, hey, let's try to get this out in one clean shot. So that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, that's about it. Obviously, swords for interaction as well is really nice. Nice and clean. So very interested to see how this plays out. It is a Yorion deck as well, so I do have to keep time as a, yeah, keep up with my speed of play. And then we will get rid of card display. Nice. But yeah, I do like lands. I really enjoy playing the versions that Ali typically puts out, especially the 2-color versions like green-white, green-red, redwood, and punishing fire was a lot bigger. Really cool kind of deck to play around with. So we're going to reveal the Yorion. Nice. And we have a pretty sweet hand. I mean, we have a turn 1 Saga. We also just have a turn 1 Reclaimer as a 3/4. I don't mind just going Mox. I could also play the Heath potentially, but I kind of like the land drop. Obviously has a lot of added benefit with things like crop rotation, Reclaimer. So I don't mind Mox, pitch, Bog, play Saga, and then I guess we do have the Saga here for the Reclaimer anyway, so this pretty much allows us just to hold up Swords to Plowshares around days on turn 1, which is pretty cool. If there's something like a Delver deck or a Grief deck, this is a pretty nice start. Could also hold the second diamond if I really wanted to, and therefore hold the Windswept. But I think, like, from an engine perspective, pretty happy with this start. Most likely, if we don't draw a land, I guess if we draw a land, we're not changing too much. It's probably just make a token, attack. There's the Grief. Like, we might as well swords here. They pitched a Voidwalker, which thankfully on the play is a little too slow. I was going to say, them playing an Underground Sea and us drawing Wasteland is probably the best that we could get. Deep Depths is pretty sweet as well. The question is, do I want to play this as just a Windswept Heath? And probably so. I could also wait for the Saga, but I really like making my land drops, especially seeing we'll lose this one next turn. Sadly, we won't be able to make a construct and use Reclaimer next turn, but that's probably going to be okay. I think we are happy just to get in one here and then go for Saga, because I don't think there is a world where we're not playing or making a 3/3, and every point of every point of damage definitely helps. Archon's not the worst. Did we take out Aether Spellbomb? I think we did. Okay. That's probably the best thing they can do with Bojuka Bog here, and Echoing Deep's obviously down. Question is, do I want... Probably want to get rid of the token here. Keep the Reclaimer. Yeah. Wow, really good stuff from them as well. I mean, turn 1 Grief into turn 2, or turn 3 in Tomb Reanimate. Depths is cool. A little bit awkward that they will be going above 20 life. I guess we can try to block the following turn. Just have a quick look. Like, potentially, if they miss a land drop, I don't think they will. We do have, like, get a Wasteland and then get a Tabernacle. Ooh, Talon Gates. I didn't even think of Talon Gates. I don't mind that. I don't mind Surveil first, and it's probably Hedge Maze. If we get a Loam into the bin, I'll be pretty happy. Or if it is a Swords Plowshares on top. Like a second creature isn't great here. Because we have the Moxen, I'm probably happy to get rid of the Hedge and just keep Stage as a decent draw. It doesn't ETB again, does it? Because it doesn't leave the battlefield. It's just non-existent in a way. So it doesn't trigger, which is kind of cool. Alright, they kept on top. Okay. Happy to make the land drop. And then probably just turning a Talent into a Talons. Do we need to here? They gain, they draw. 1, 2, 3. So if we do get Stage here, I think for the sake of it, I might just Talons here, take another draw, make another land drop, and then potentially go for Stage. Chose to not shuffle. Okay. That does change things a bit. Uro. I'm happy to try this out. It's a little bit risky, like if we don't draw into a land, but days. Double days. Okay. Maybe there's a world here where we can attack for 3. What do we take here? 9 pretty much? It's not really worth playing this. Actually, we're just dead. Because because we don't have the extra mana for Uro. Okay. I don't mind the cage. The cage only hits our Uros, which isn't too bad. We can cut things like the Caracas. Maze is fine, especially if they try to go for Troll. I like the Sagas. Yeah, not being able to hold up Bog is always a tricky one. Especially them knowing it as well. I guess semi-knowing it. Bauble can come out. Shadowspear isn't probably where we want to be. Needle on Wasteland is probably not where I want to be either. You can Needle Troll if you really want to be aggressive, but I like the map and I like the boots. I don't mind the surgicals. Reanimate, Animate Dead. And that's kind of like the 4 cards to stop that. And there are worlds where we can get rid of the Grafdigger's Cage if we want with our own Boseiju. Ah, it's an opponent controls. Okay, so we can't. But I don't mind this. The Nantuko's interesting. It kind of gets around Archon. I guess we also had Yorion, but we went up to 5 mana at any point. Ooh. A little bit awkward with the, like it has exploration, but it doesn't have an engine. And if I go like Misty, Fetch, Exploration, play Wasteland, they're just going to go for basics early on. I feel like this is a little bit of a trap. I don't mind having the exploration, but we really need to draw into like Loam off the top or some sort of engine to keep it all going. Much better hand. Pretty happy to keep this. Probably bottom the Tundra and just keep all the fetches and the swords. Fetches work around Wasteland, of course, but also are good for Uro. Okay. This is most likely just cycle troll. I don't mind going for the Surveil land here. Probably the Lush, as it allows us to hold up swords potentially. Keep that on top. Okay. So they prioritize their own mana. I'm going to play Reclaimer. And then probably here just play another Windswept. Now if they have Troll, which they did play like they have, they might try to go to get it back straight away unless they have an answer to Reclaimer thinking about Bojuka Bog. But then thankfully we do have the sword for it, which is nice. Okay. Interesting. I will get the other Surveil land here. And then probably just play Flagstone's Pass. Ooh, that's actually pretty good. Put that on top. Hey Joe. Very cool to see you. Hope you're doing well. A big thank you for your subscription. 29 months is, yeah, pretty nice. What have you been liking out of different BANT decks that you've seen? I think here I'm happy to... Definitely happy to Wasteland, but obviously like Entomb into land Reanimate is where I'm really scared, so maybe I actually just want to not even attack here, see what they do in end step, and then potentially Wasteland upkeep. Archon. Okay. I don't think we have to play around Stifle or anything here. Yeah, flags would have been good as well. Especially in this case. I think we, yeah, could have thought about it a little bit more. They did just shuffle. I feel like they have a reanimate. Yeah, the draw stop is very good, especially for crop rotation. That's a great point. I was thinking of potentially going for Saga end step if they do nothing. Play the flagstones, pass back. Okay. I could also just exile their graveyard now, which also plays around Murktide, but I think I'd rather just have... Yeah, I don't mind bogging either. Like if they have like another Entomb into Reanimate, that's fine. But we do also have Echoing Deeps as well. Yeah. To copy the Bojuka Bog. Ooh. I probably don't want to Loam just yet. But I am able to play Flagstones. Wasteland them. Hold up Flagstones. Probably getting another Wasteland. If they like tap out on sorcery speed, we also have like get rid of Bog and then Loam it back. I don't mind just churning here into the Wasteland. Let's go and get a green source for Loam and then get Wasteland here, which they might just target with their own Wasteland before we get to untap with it. No. Interesting. Okay. Atraxa. Okay. Well, now we just want to play a land and hold up Echoing Deeps. We did take out the Krakus, which is a little bit awkward, but I think there's just so many better ways to deal with I don't mind getting rid of Bojuka Bog here and just turning it into Saga and seeing if they want to trade with the Wasteland. Let's have a quick think. Yeah. That's fine. So we could try to Loam, but if they have like a force effect, then obviously we aren't able to Reclaimer. So I think what I'll do is just pass here with Reclaimer open. Fetch first so they can't respond to the fetch with something. Interestingly enough, they could have Wastelanded me here to keep me off mana. So let's go Tundra, I don't really care about. And then I guess we could have attacked and then mazed. But because Because the Archon's gone and the Atraxa is left, I don't mind just getting Echoing Deeps here and then Loaming next turn. Especially seeing Maze of Ith is such a good way to deal with their other threats. And we do have the Loam on board. So here's the Reanimate. Get rid of the Tundra. So we have a green source. Get Echoing Deeps. Comes into play as a copy of Bojuka Bog. And we bog them. Nice. They let us untap. Ooh. Loam, target, bog, wasteland, saga. Nice. That's fair enough. I think it's like, that's kind of a force negation check. I don't think we want to change anything. The surgicals are definitely help on the draw. Overall, it seems like a pretty nice matchup if you can have some sort of out against a quick reanimate on big threat. This hand does have crop and exploration and depths with brainstorm. It doesn't have a great way to deal with an early entomb other than crop, but I'm pretty happy to keep this and try it out. Pretty hard to put back a hand like this. Just the land pass. Okay. What we don't have here, I guess we could... Like Daze is obviously pretty scary, but we don't have great outs. Like I think here it's just holding up crop, which is pretty brutal because if it gets dazed, we lose our only green source. The other option is play the exploration, play Tundra, and then brainstorm. Potentially, if we have to. I think I like playing to the board. They might fetch Entomb Daze in response. They don't. Yeah, that's a great point, Joe. I think Woodland's really good in a deck where you have a good, solid payoff. But Maverick just has like a good value, like good lot of value things. Hey Junie, welcome. Hope you're well. Hopefully it's just a troll. It was not. Okay. All right, we're going to try to hit at least. Okay, we don't. We do have the crop rotation for a shuffle effect alongside depths, which is nice. So they go up to 21, which is a little bit awkward. But potentially we get to take the triggers of attacks and then block with the Dark Depths. Let's put back the Nantuko and put back a Saga. Potentially the Talon, because phasing at sorcery speed isn't great because they just get it back in their upkeep. What do I want to discard? I guess we could discard the Talon. So next time we play Depths in a land and then we just have crop rotation open, which is kind of cool. I think it's just these two. That resolves. Discard the... Could be the Reclaimer, honestly. Could go for Upkeep Crop. The issue is if we Upkeep Crop, we have to get rid of... Like, we have to kind of float mana unless we want to get rid of the Trop itself, which is currently our only green source. Which isn't the worst if we're going for... like, just the combo over 2 turns. So it's currently 8. So we kind of have 3 turns. Take 8, go to 9, take 8, go to 1. Okay. Could also just get... Oh, we can't get Boseiju because that obviously goes into play. So we just get Stage here. And it's a little bit rough with Wasteland. Ooh. Well, that's interesting. 1 land, 2 land. I mean, here we could just go Talons and Saga. And then when it comes back from phasing... Otawara it to hand. Okay, that's a plan. I kind of hope they take out the Saga here. Voidwalker's fine. Okay. I think here because we haven't seen any sort of like bounce effects, I'm happier to play around Wasteland. They are at 21, but I think we're in a position where it's just like try to swing over 2 turns. Wow. See, that's really interesting. Maybe they just felt that like they do have 2 turns, but maybe they just didn't have cards in hand that allowed them to look at that many cards over 2 turns. Maybe the hand was just, yeah, tough. At least look at the top maybe, but maybe they just didn't really sideboard in a way that could deal with a Marit Lage if it actually got into play. Nice. It is cool. I do like that feeling of playing a bit more towards just play for the outs. A big thank you, Panda. Too kind. Pretty great. Like, keep this for sure. We get some pretty sweet value here. We get pretty much Savannah into Exploration, Mox Pitch Lush into Saga, and play Nantuko? Damn, okay. Savannah, play Exploration, play Saga. I guess we don't need to get rid of the fetch here. The fetch is a... I kind of like setting up the next turn. Oh no, but yeah, of course. We kind of got to keep it. But I think if they have a Wasteland, they go after the Saga, so I don't think having an untapped source is that bad here. And we're dead. I think we're just dead. Well, I do like the thought of the Flusterstorms, probably the Surgicals, the Force of Vigors. It's probably going to be harder to know what to take out here. But I'm going to assume this is the mono blacklist with Pact Negation and Narcomoebas. Yeah. Okay. So this is a Destroy, which is good to know about. This is a Exile, which is pretty good. Yeah, exactly. We had a turn one, like, sweet hand, and then they were like, hey, check this out. Check out this similarity. There we go. Ooh. What? Hey, wait a second. What is happening here? They have the Cabal Therapy. They have the Dread Return. Oh my gosh. Always played out. Yeah, so they have to sacrifice 3 creatures. They only got, yeah, wow. Wow. That is a Microsoft Paint moment. Wow, okay. Surgicals, yes. Force, like, nearly all of this, let's be honest. I'm not sure if Flute's good enough. It is pretty sweet with the flash, but how often are you going to have to flash up? I guess Dread Return. You could just name Dread Return. I feel like this is probably better than something else. Yeah, Force of Vigor is probably meh. I've seen some versions move towards a sideboard with Charbelcher, Caracas. I don't think swords. I don't think like Shadowspear. Needle potentially naming. Yeah, Tabby, Maze. I mean, that's 79. Maybe we just keep in. Yeah, I like to at least see where Flute goes. Maybe it's swords on the off chance that they... Yeah. Right. That's crazy. So this hand has a Surgical. Is that enough? Honestly, it's probably not. When you think of their deck, they have Grief, they have Pact Negation. I'm pretty happy to mulligan. Because best case is we crack the miss, we get to untap, we brainstorm and potentially find more. Okay, this has Force of Vigor and it also has Flute, and it still has a pretty good plan. So I'm happy to keep this, and it's probably put back the Loam. Just because we're probably... it might just be the Brainstorm. We do, because I think we want either the Crop or the Loam to try to win the game, and one of those has to pitch to the Force of Vigor most likely. So I think it just is the Brainstorm. Yeah. So there's Leyline, that's fine. Kind of hope they play like a Chrome Mox that we can hit. Oh wow, okay. So honestly, in this case, I'm pretty happy just to take out the Pedal while they can't really use it, and in that case, get rid of the Loam. Okay. Hey Nonka, welcome, hope you're well. a big thank you for the follow. I wish I knew what language that was. Based on viewership or time, I would say Japanese, but that is a wild guess. We'll just a pass back. We get to go Surveil Land here, which is pretty sweet. Let's go for Hedge Maze. Yeah, because that also holds up Flusterstorm if we want it. Graveyard. Okay. Now we get to go Flagstone's Pass and just hold up crop. I guess we don't want to crop for Saga. The one draw of Saga is that over 2 turns it gets Grafdigger's Cage, which is pretty much the same, which I actually like. I think trading the Flagstones here for Savannah and Saga, and then just holding up Flute most likely on... I guess we could also just play the Flute now. Yeah, I think we just Flute on Dread Return here. Get it into play. I assume they're playing potentially Force of... Oh, I can't be playing Force of because it's mono black. Okay, that's a pretty sweet draw. Because that actually just answers everything. So we get to fetch for Savannah, play the Reclaimer, hold up the crop here. And then if we do get a turn, we know we're untapping with Reclaimer, meaning we're untapping with Bog, so we can crop rotation for Saga. Saga also getting Needle is quite good. Hey Jax, welcome. I would like to believe that you are trolling. Because I believe that Oracle comes in off Dread Return, which isn't cast. So Flute does nothing, unless they actually want to hard cast it. Spy. Okay. So they have 1 mana floating. Oh, I wonder if they have like... That would be actually pretty cool if they had the sacrifice a creature gain 4. Yeah, they might just have the 3 mana. So here they go for it. Culling of the Week. So there's 1. There's 2. There's 3. So they might actually have 1 in hand. The scary thing here is that there aren't any pact negations, but maybe they side them out for the ley lines. I don't mind getting Lush here, just to see if we're going to put a land in, a card into the graveyard. Like, that's not doing too much, so I mean, we're probably just dead here if we don't untap, so Bog them. Okay, there we go. Very nice. All right, what's it been? Blue-black scam. And I'm just going to say mono-black. Oops. Hey, Knocker, a huge thank you. That means a lot. Do you have a local scene? Do you get to play Legacy often? On the play, which is really nice. Been really fortunate with that so far. And it's a pretty sweet hand. I mean, we get to keep this. If we really want to try to go towards a turn 2 stage and Dark Depths with Yavimaya, we could, but I kind of like not doing that because potentially what we want to do is play Trop, play Exploration, and then play Savannah holding up Crop. Because if we want to take them off green, I don't want to play the Avamaya. Okay. I'm also not in a position here to crop. I do like Wasteland on the under. Okay, well that's that's quite nice. Happy to Wasteland first. Play the Saga, and then most likely lose the Saga to a Wasteland, which we can just crop away for another one. But really fortunate opening 8. Okay, yeah. I think that the Brainstorm in the bin kind of gave it away. Potentially they were on one land, had a few cantrips, and didn't want to hit another cantrip. They just wanted to start making land drops. But thankfully, like this could be a deck like Tess or some sort of combo deck, but I'm going to put them on most likely Blue-Black Scam. Nonka, your English is very good. So if English isn't your first language, I would not have thought any different. Look, against some sort of combo deck, potentially Surgical and potentially Graph Diggers, just like last time, we took out the Caracas, and then we took out the... We did take out the Bauble, which I think just in case this is a... No, I don't think a combo deck would concede that early. Because they might... I feel like a combo player would be like, I only need, a few good draws and one turn to kind of go off. Whereas potentially a more mid-range player was just like, I got Wastelanded, I don't have another land, they have a Saga online, let's just pack it up and go to game 2. So I'm gonna actually say that they are Blue-Black Scam or something similar, not a combo deck. We did take out the Needle, I believe. Okay. These are interesting. Maybe I'll try the Flusters. I don't mind Fluster as a way to protect crop rotation a little bit. What do we have? We have 1, 2 lands, 2 explorations with a map. So not the worst. We do have a spell land in Otawara that I probably want to have in this matchup as an actual spell. So it's a little bit populated on like this interaction. No Nadu, no. We went with a list that didn't have it for a bit of a change. I think Panda made a good point where the list, if we included Nadu, you'd build around it. But I think with what we wanted to play, it was a little bit harder to build around, or like you'd be a worse Nadu list than what you actually see out there. Yeah, I'm gonna. This is pretty much a 6 with the exploration, and I think as a 6 I would keep this, especially with the Brainstorm to kind of fuel the explorations a little bit, potentially find a Loam. And it's not too dead to something like a Daze, which is nice. Cage is actually really nice off the top. And Cage kind of makes me want to go land first, play the Mox, pitch the Otawara, and then Cage. And then now I can play an exploration happily into Days knowing I have a backup. Because I have the Moxen, I kind of want to go for Forest just to not get Wastelanded and make sure I have 2 mana next turn. But they're Wastelanding me and kind of resetting the game. It's not that bad of a position anyway. Like Forest can be a little bit awkward, but I think with the Mox it's fine. But I could see where you go, hey, if they have a Wasteland, we have 40 lands, we're probably going to draw into them. But yeah, I don't mind the... Just make sure I have early mana that I can play with. Glowstone Ritual. Okay, Frog's fine. Frog is the play. This is a sweet card. This is a new card. 2 mana for a 1/2. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card. Pretty sweet, replaces itself. And then discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it, which is sweet, doesn't go away. And then exile 3 cards from your graveyard. It gains flying until end of turn. So really, really cool. I think it's really cool design. Like nothing too, like overly done. Uro a little bit awkward, but we do have like map to fetch away from the brainstorm, which is kind of cool. So I don't actually mind just going with main phase brainstorm here. Fantastic. We don't want the extra loam or the extra exploration. We probably don't want the Uro here either. We do want the land. We do want the wasteland so we can play around days. And now it's... It's probably a Savannah just so I have that land in play if we draw swords. We also have Otawara to get back, which is pretty sweet. Wow, okay. One thing we don't have is Ghost Quarter, which some decks do have. But I think especially when you're on BANT, you do have to consider your colored mana. And Ghost Quarter just seems like one of those spots where it's a luxury. Okay. Another frog. Okay, they're on 3 cards. So here we will dredge the loam. There's a world where I don't mind getting Tabernacle for a turn. It could also just be land. Otawara. Yeah, I think bounce and play a land is pretty good as well. We did find Dark Depths, so the map potentially finding stage is an out, which is cool. We have a lot of time as well, so we can think a bit about this. So if we loam first, we get back 3 lands, which is great. But the loam does take up 2 points. If we want to play the map, we can also Otawara, which is nice. Probably to keep, put this one back. I don't mind double fetch. Play map, get back frog. Just going to diversify my lands a bit. So all jewels are 2 of each color. Play the map. And then pass. One small thing is that if we loam, the loam isn't in our hand for grief, which actually is a discard. It's not an exile, which is good. Will they discard anything? They will. Okay. Will they replay the frog? They discarded 1. Ooh. Okay. Not too bad. Okay. Because now we also have, let's have a quick think. We have 1/2 mana Get Back Depths, 1/2 mana Crack Map Play Stage as our other, and then have, I guess, 1 mana left over. We do lose the Loam there. I could also crop for the phase and phase it out. Any new spice in your deck from MH3? Yeah, a few cards. We have the Talon Gates of Madara that on ETB exiles or phases out a creature, I should say. Vexing Bauble, which has seen a lot of hype, and the Flute in the board, which is kind of like a better, in quotation marks, Pithing Needle. What do we have in terms of interaction? Do have Maze of Ith. I think here I'm happy to... We are draw step as well. Loam back Otawara, Depths, Wasteland. Play the Depths. And then, oh, we actually can't also go for... We can't crack this for 2 and hold up stage because we would only have 1 mana left over. Could also crop now, that's very true. Crop now and just make them have a bounce spell. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I don't mind Wasteland as well, because most of their outs are going to be Brazen Borrower, which is 2 mana, or Sheoldred's Edict or Sudden Edict, which is 2 mana. So if we Wasteland them, it means they have to have a 3rd mana, potentially a cantrip, and also the answer. Yeah, so I think we play the Wasteland. We crop away the Forest. Go and get stage. We take them off the Underground Sea. And then we just copy now to play around Wasteland. Keeping the version of Dark Depths with no counters, which will trigger and give us a Merit Lage. And at worst, we have a bounce spell and also map to go and find potentially Urza's Saga to try to find an out that way. They also have Frog to gain flying and block, but we do have the Otawara for that. Ooh, this is, yeah. Moxen. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Gains flying until end of turn. So even if we go for Bojuka Bog, they can do it in response. Is there something else? I think, yeah. I think for this turn we do just attack and see what they do. Most likely block with this Frog after exiling some cards. Yeah, so I think here we hold up the Otawara, just in case they try to go for lethal, but then also hold up map to go and get Talons to get rid of the blocker. Talon Gator maps, correct. They attack with both. Discard a Wasteland. Okay. I don't want to go down to an Orcish Bowmasters. So I think in this case, because of their mana as well, I'm happy to bounce the Voidwalker. Just so they can't replay this and then have a blocker. Nice. Because yeah, I think if you bounce the frog, they can replay it and then obviously exile cards to gain flying, but thankfully it doesn't matter. Nice. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. Look, it's a great time. If you want to find me on Twitter, you can find me there. If you want to find me on YouTube, you can find me here. Obviously, I have a Discord as well. I give away monthly prize tickets. That's wrong. I give away, as part of the MTGO creator program, play points. Every month, 120 points. Usually do something different each month for that. So if you are part of my socials, you'll find them there. But that is not here nor there. Deck's been sweet. We'll be back soon. Gameplay. Deck's been really cool. We haven't, I think I should just always keep an eye on having Yorion. Because we haven't put it into hand yet. So, something to think about. I believe Talon Gate sadly is a commander card. As in, it's only in the commander decks of MH3, and I think it's already like $25. Let's do a quick search. Okay, 12. That's not too bad. But I assume it would have jumped a bit. Tabletop. Oh, okay, so it was up like 30. So this is a good showing of like why you don't buy at the start of a set and why you should wait out as long as you can. It can, you know, go the other way though, but typically. One thing that I do, which I think stops a lot of salt or like bad feeling, is I never think of my MTGO opponents as people. I make it feel like I'm just playing against like the Microsoft chess that is part of the, you know, Microsoft system, and that I'm just playing against my opponent or an expert, and if they have it, they have it. Hey Grandham, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Right. Up against Rain. Yorion, nice. Loam with Mox is really nice here. So pretty happy to keep this. Having the Brainstorm as well as a just in case is kind of cool. Flooded Strand these days to me is a pretty fair card. But here we are. Stage. Okay. I think here we're happy to fetch up a basic. Play the Forest. Play the Mox. Probably pitch the Lush here. And then cast a Loam, getting them both back. There's a world where I don't want to get them both back because of Reclaimer, but I think it's just too good not to get them back. Or at least try to get this forced or dazed. Force negation. Done. Thankfully, we do have a backup. What I would love to get online in this matchup is probably Tabernacle Wasteland. A little bit harder on the draw, but not off the charts. Quick question as well. I believe phasing does not get rid of counters. So if you phase out a Murktide that has 2 +1/+1 counters, it keeps them because it doesn't really leave the field. It's just there. Oh, that's pretty nice. I could Brainstorm first, honestly. I actually don't mind going for Brainstorm here. We still have the mana to go about the Misty, but if my opponent wants to go back a little bit, double Wasteland. Okay, interesting. We know what we're potentially loaming here as well. They didn't play another threat, so I kind of feel like their next threat's going to be Murktide, which means Wastelanding them probably isn't the greatest thing, especially if we're going behind on the Otawaras. But it's nice to know that if we put the Misty in the bin, Misty in stage, and then we hold the rest, these are like good spells. I feel like Loam here is fine. Okay. Yeah, Nantuko's not too bad. Like, at this stage, I think a bolt at a creature like their Nantuko we're more than happy with, rather than a bolt at us. No, and not another threat, which is pretty great for us. We will dredge, and we will hit Tabernacle, Misty, stage. I'm pretty happy to try to get that Tabby, Wasteland, and stage. Wow. And then probably just play out the Tabernacle. Honestly, there's not many chances in Magic that you get to play a Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale. So even though this is just online, if I get to slow down my opponent just that little bit, I'm more than happy. They know a Wasteland's coming as well. I do want one on paper. Swords Tundra Saga. Okay. We'll try again. Oh, draw step, sorry. I would say a tab in Aussie is around. If you want a good one, probably like 4.5. Maybe even like closer to 5. There's a force. That's fine. You have one card left. I'm happy to... So it's either Wasteland here or Surveil, and then next turn hold up potentially Otawara. Or Springheart and also. I don't mind the waste because if we waste them and they want to spell next turn, they might need to fetch and then go down to 0 lands with this Wasteland. I assume this is going to be a Thundering Falls. Oh, they play an island. Interesting. They also put a Brazen, or a Brazen hit the bin. Okay, so that's kind of turned off the plan for Tab. So they get to draw here, that's fine. Okay, so now we can either Loam and probably play back the Saga, or we could play the Springheart. I guess we also have like draw into, like Loam into Bog. Yeah, I guess we can also go Windswept, which holds up the other Surveil land. Cast Nantuko. And then if they only have an island, the Otawara is going to do a good amount of work. I played the land first so it doesn't get dazed, but potentially I don't care about daze. Yeah. Right. Hedge. Oh, we get a 1/1? Okay, that's cool. I think. Saga's actually decent. Because we get to play it next turn and then hold up the Soaring City. Put on top. That's pretty cool. Oh wow, we get another 1/1 because of the land. Oh my gosh, okay, that's why it's pretty cool. Interesting. Wow. Well, I guess we're attacking. We are a little bit susceptible to Bolt, which honestly isn't that far-fetched. They haven't played another threat, so I do have to consider Bolt. Well, I guess triple Bolt being an option now because of the Otawara dealing with this DRC potentially. But Burn to the Face would be pretty tough. Seek the Beast. Okay. They put a Murktide into the bin. They reveal Daze and Flooded Strand. I kind of hope they cast a spell before the DRC. Okay. Just because of bolts, I'm pretty happy to Otawara now. And I assume this turn it's DRC and probably also Questing Beast, Questing Druid. They don't play the Questing Druid, that's interesting. I think he was taking the draw because I do want to use the Saga most likely to make a token. Oh, Crop is very good. I mean, Crop for Bog is really nice. Could also just make Lage, that's true. I think, yeah, because of that we'll play the stage. They've been through how many? 2 wastelands. Bolt me. Okay. They have 1 card left. I think here I'm happy to make the 2020. The borrower is already in the bin. They shuffled, which is great for us. Plays a Misty. They have to attack with a DRC unless they have a Murktide to make it smaller. Yeah, nice. Very cool. Crazy. Like, even just with 1 threat, there's a lot that Delver can do. But obviously the 1 threat from their end was just enough for us. There's not a whole lot that I really want out of the list. I think it's probably a case of like, do we want to fluster? Potentially not. Like sometimes just the, like, although we do run 40 lands, sometimes it's just nice to have like the Caracas in the deck as a white source. But I could see like Vexing Bauble coming out for, I guess Vexing Bauble turns off free days, it turns off free force. Yeah, Needle, like you could Needle Wasteland, but I kind of like Wastelanding them. Crackers does some interaction with Uro, which is cool. I might just bring in like 2 Flusters and see how that goes. But I might keep in the Bauble. No Nadu, no. We went with a list that was a little bit different to what's kind of being seen in the leagues at the moment. Yeah, maybe the Nantukus. I could see that. Go down to like 2 Nantuku. Tuko. I just like saying Nantuko. One thing would have been really, I actually don't want to jinx myself. This is actually pretty good. I was going to say one thing we haven't had is mulligans or real mulligan decisions. A lot of the hands have been pretty nice, and this is pretty great. Turn 1, like Mox with Loam, and then a Bog if we need it. Fluster is good for petty theft. It's also good for meltdown if we are on that sort of route. Potentially. All right. The game is on. Savannah. All right, let's play the Saga. Trigger. Cast the Mox. Pitch the Misty. Let's try to get back that Misty. Cool. I would assume potentially there's a surgical in their list that might take out the Loams. But I think I'd love to see like a Bauble. Like 2 spells this turn to take out with the Bojuka Bog would be nice. Even like cantrip into Bauble. Okay. Wasteland's fine. Do they have an enter for the Loam? It looks like they do not. Yes. Uro, Lavaspur Boots, and Thespian Stage. It's pretty good. I'm not too worried about this yet. Like, Fetch is pretty much 3 mana, so they're at 6 mana for Murktide. So I think next turn we can potentially go after. Let's go for basic forest here. Yeah. I like the basic. Get our mana on point, and then we get to Loam. Force negation. Nice. Okay. I guess for them, that is a way to potentially go land into Murktide, which would be a really nice way to take control of this game. Ponder's fine. I think now we're getting to a stage where we do want to get rid of their graveyard. Best case for us is obviously Bauble. Because they currently have instant land sorcery. And I'd love to grab a Bauble with the Bojuka Bog as well. No Merc, no land. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, opponent. That's pretty tricky. We will Bog. I guess I could have Loamed first in case they kept a Daze. That's actually correct. That's just a misplay on my behalf. Okay, well, very fortunate. Delver's fine. Boseiju Wasteland. Okay. Honestly, I don't mind. Just get back Wasteland Boseiju here. Nice. And then I think potentially move towards just play lands, get the Uro into play, or try to draw into crop rotation for Tabernacle. Would be pretty sweet. We also have Saga. But obviously Saga without Yavimaya means we aren't moving towards Uro. But I think we have a bit of a plan that we can just work towards not loaming here. Boseiju. Okay. Still a little scary, but especially because they can be flyers. Another Saga. Honestly, I think I want the other Saga. We can also try to go Savannah into Mox off the Saga, but I think we really want to get that I feel like we do want to get Shadowspear. So maybe this case, maybe right now is where we go Hedge Maze. Because we don't need the mana otherwise. Try to see what's on top. Exploration. It's fine, but I think it's not, we're not going to have the amount of turns we really want for exploration to do what it wants to do. Even though we have obviously exploration and Loam. I think we really want to find probably either a removal spell or a crop rotation. Yeah, Vexing Bauble. I didn't even think. Vexing Bauble just turning off Force of Vigor is pretty sweet. Oh, Force of, yeah, Force of Will. Bolt. Alright. That isn't a land though. going to attack with both. Because of Vexing Bauble, I'm pretty happy to make a construct here and block the DRC. Maybe they have like land into... No, interesting, just trying to get through damage. We're not going to Loam. Otawara is pretty sweet. Load of mana. Yeah, I think it's just Vexing Bauble. Land. Blue, blue, green, green. Uro. Get rid of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep the Loam. That's pretty cool. Trigger. Oh, we can dredge the Loam. That's kind of cool. Shadowspear, another Uro. Caracas. Saga into play. I guess if we had a blue source, we could also just bounce this here because of the legendary status. Oh, companion to hand. Really nice one, Baku. I totally forgot about Yorion, which makes a lot of sense. I think what I'll do from now on is actually just play with it out like this. Yeah, I think that's like a really good tip for MTGO. Just like putting a dice on top of your deck if you're playing Aether Vial. Okay. I mean, we have some cool stuff to do here. We can even like loan back the Caracas, replay it, because we know that Vexing Bauble shuts off Daze and Force. Probably just a fetch. I do have to worry about like 20, like 3/3 bolt. And then because of our mana, I think I'm pretty happy to create a construct or replay the Uro. Just trying to think if I want the extra damage. I don't think I do. I guess we also have bounce here. Yeah, I think if I thought about it a bit more, I would have made the extra token, get the extra damage in, and then hold up Otawara. Yeah. Even companion into hand. Yeah, honestly, really tough spot. All right, let's go for the trophy. I do think, so we played against what? Delver, played against Blue-Black Scam, played against Mono-Black Oops. Combo decks can be a bit of an issue, but I think the Delver matchups were pretty good against. Trying to think what else we played against. Yamaru. What were they on? Was that Delver again? Was it just Delver into Delver? I think it was Delver into Delver. Actually, no, I think it was like blue-black again. Scam? Yeah, I think it was actually, yeah. But yeah, deck's been a treat. Really nice to play. I think Blast Zone would be cool. Potentially Blast Zone over one of the extra Talons, maybe. As like kind of like the removal spell land slot. But I can see where Talon can really buy you a lot of time, or have extra additions as well. Yeah, the Nantukas are pretty sweet as well. Especially it's just going wide. And I know there's some sort of interaction with Uro as well. I guess if you enchant Uro, and then whenever you attack, you pretty much get another Uro. Oh, wait a second. If you have like enough mana, yeah, so you can bestow Uro, and then when your Uro attacks, you put a land into play. This triggers, you can use that land and another land. So it kind of costs 1 to create a new Uro, which puts a land into play. Trigger again. Yeah, so if you can somehow like have the extra mana around, especially after like an exploration, you can go pretty hard on Nantuko. That's very cool. Hey, it's Larry David, yo. I feel like we were talking about Larry David before in the chat. All right, here we go. Let's show Yorion. Okay, we have a 1-lander. I'm not going to be keeping this. Okay, I actually don't mind this hand. I really like... I kind of like these, keeping the 4, keeping the Mox to pitch the Dark Depths, and then having 2 land drops. So for me, it's between the Uro and the Springheart here. I kind of like dropping the Uro, because the mana here isn't great. Like 1 land does get us towards Uro, but then we need to really push our graveyard as well. That this is a 6 I kind of like, because we have decent mana. We have something like turn 1 Wasteland and Swords against like say a Delver deck. We have turn 1 Saga into Nantuko. Grief. Pitching Troll. Okay. Up against a fair deck, which I don't mind. Take the sword. It's fair enough. Okay. I guess they could take the Moxen here. They don't. Taking the Moxen's kind of a heads up play, but I do understand the appeal of taking the Nantuko. Okay. Now the question is, do I want to wasteland them? They do have a Grief in play. I actually don't mind it. Grief by itself isn't the fastest clock. And the world where they, I guess they pitched a Troll, so I assume they do have another land, but them not double spelling this turn is quite nice for us. Also, I like to not see a Wasteland this turn. Okay, that's a pretty sweet draw. So let's go Saga first. Now we play the Mox. Pitch the Depths. and then probably pass here. Don't think they play Spell Pierce, like main deck Fluster. They probably just get a Surveil land here. They kept. Honestly, here I'm happy just to get rid of this. And I assume Wasteland will reset the game, which isn't too bad for us, seeing we have a Mox Diamond in play and an Uro in hand to kind of get a bit of an engine going. That's a play. Oh, we're in draw step. I'm just going to take this off for a second. Okay, no Entomb. Upkeep Brainstorm. Interesting. Interesting they didn't end step Brainstorm. Because end step and upkeep, you're seeing the same amount of cards, but you're tapping out a mana on your turn. Ooh, they're locked. Alright, a land here would be bussin'. That is a land, and I think it's worth playing here. Just a turn on the map. Yeah. And I think the map is just going to be finding a fetch land. Have a good think. Green and blue. I don't want to get a Boseiju. I don't want to get a Otawara. I guess we could also go for a... Okay. So now the Uro goes to the bin, which isn't the worst. But I think we do go for Saga. Just because it gets us some sort of engine going. Nice. Let's try that out. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Honestly, probably one of our better draws. I will be interested to see if they actually attack with the Grief, potentially acting like they have a Orcish Bowmasters or something. But honestly, here I'm pretty happy not to block. Because if we untap and draw a land, which is pretty high, we can then start going a little bit wide with Nantuko. We can actually race. That's pretty funny. Petty theft on the Mox. Okay. So they're potentially going to petty theft the token after blocks. Row. Okay. Unfortunate draw, but I think Uro's still, like, we can nearly get a cast off it. It would be tough, but... Do they attack? I think we still take this. I think maybe I should have thought a bit more about attacking last turn, but there was a world where they don't attack with Grief if they actually just don't have an out. But surely if they have like a Fatal Push or a Bowmaster, they take this out before we draw another land and start going wide. They reanimate our Uro. Okay. Does that just... Yeah, it just dies. So it gains them 3 and draws them a card. Which kind of replaces the reanimate, which is a decent play. Okay. Misty. Nice. So we add one. I think it is the Shadowspear. Play a land, trigger. And then equip to this, which is what we want to attack with, and then hold back the tokens. Now this doesn't die to Bowmaster, which is nice if they're running it. If they attack, yeah, I think that's a really nice sort of stranglehold, because if they attack, we fetch first. Let's get the Hedge Maze here. Trigger. Misty I actually like because of the Mox and also the Uro. And also this, of course. Nice. They do nothing. So this is actually a great spot where it's a little bit odd, but it's probably better to play the Misty because of the triggers than it is to play the Uro. And honestly here, I kind of like just putting the Shadowspear on one of the insects and attacking with that instead, because I think they'd be very happy to trade the Grief here. Yeah. A little bit scary. They have gone through they've gone through 3 reanimates, but maybe, just maybe, they have a animate dead or the 4th reanimate. Okay. Do you still have Caracas? Okay. Actually not like the greatest, which is good for us. A lot of good things, but they do get a daze. We have Boseiju. Get the Lush. That can go in the bin. Probably discard. Oh, Archon. Wasteland. Okay. Play the Wasteland. Get that. And then one, I guess it's a little bit tricky because we're probably trying to play either for swords or play for Boseiju, and we can only hold up one of these, but we also don't want to play into days. So if we draw the swords, they're not casting it, so I think we hold up the Lush. Well, it has to be, yeah, it has to be, because you have to, actually, we can't even do that because you have to kind of do this. Come on, Krakus. Oh, close. Double waste. That's pretty good. Yeah. Animate dead and double waste, that's going to be tough. Interesting. Tough. Yeah. I think just like last time, surgicals and cage and take out the Shadowspear, the needle, and probably 2 Springhearts. I was like, we took out Krakus last time, but maybe I change it up a little bit. You like Spear. Maybe I keep the Spear if I am staying on the Nantuko. Take those out. I feel like I don't have enough creatures other than... because I feel like that'd be in a dress down deck. Maybe I bring in the Flusters. That's kind of cool. Don't mind the bauble on the play. Let's see how this goes. Love to play first. Show Yorion. A little bit too fair. A little bit too fair. This is better. Happy to keep this. Are we really? Maybe not. Like, what are we doing? Turn on exploration and then try to get a lush into... like, there isn't an engine, but going to 5 is a little bit tricky as well. It does have colors going for it, which is nice. Like, what's the line here? It's Savannah into exploration and then probably pass. And no, it's probably play the lush. Probably hold the Mox for now. See how it tracks. I'm pretty happy to play around with this a bit. Bottom the second exploration. Panda, I hope you're not giving up on me just yet. We will see how this unfolds. Nice. Lush into Loam would be pretty sweet. Map's still pretty good. Map into Saga, but is that good enough? I probably don't mind it. It's also map into like Caracas potentially if they go for a Traxxer. Yeah. I like that it allows us to have a lot of flexibility. Yeah. So if they go like put, you know, something in the bin at a slow speed. Could also potentially be like a Wasteland plus Tabernacle situation. I don't mind them taking the Mox here. I think these two are just too powerful to put them away from Mox. But now I probably want to play the Otawara. just to have the map open. Yeah, Grief isn't the best, especially on the draw. Also, the island there is really interesting because that means they don't have Entomb online. Like, it's just a troll, but troll isn't too bad. Okay. I think here we go for yeah, get Saga online. No Voidwalker, that's also pretty big. Hey Sleep Talk, thank you very much. Ooh, that's a great little pickup. Start with the Saga. I know about that. Play the Cage. Play the Tab and pass. That's very true. I could have... Yeah, that's actually a great point. I didn't take into consideration the exploration. So playing... I didn't have the mana to crack it, did I? The nice thing here is that they probably don't care about the tab so much, but this isn't a wasteland, which is nice. So we do get at least one little construct off the Saga, potentially even like a stage off the top to copy. I think Depths was my other land, so I didn't have a piece for it, but potentially I'm incorrect. Because it was, yeah, sorry, Tab, because Tab doesn't tap for mana. That's fine. I'm pretty happy with that. Probably use the island here to pay. Because I assume they have double black spells, but okay. Wasteland's fine. Hearse. Okay. Did we keep... oh, we didn't keep Shadowspear in. Yeah, maybe there was a misplay. Just for the combat math. Okay, this is fine. Hey Maverick for Life, love the name. So here we do want both. And a mana source off the top would be pretty nice here. Allowing us to hold up the Reclaimer. Correct. There are no longer, or at least there isn't currently, MH3 in the deck list. Yeah, I mean, be able to cycle the Saga closer, but I'm not too sure when. I'll have to go back and have a look. I think we have to just try to keep both here. That's a little bit tricky. I guess that's a reason to hold up the Otawara that I wasn't thinking about. Hearse. GG's. Take 6 here. We do have Talons, which is nice. So we're definitely keeping this. I guess we might as well brainstorm in response. Okay. But sadly we can't tap this and they can make this bigger. Tough. Really tough. But not too bad for a first try. I do want to go back. Game history. Replay game 2. So we kept this. Play 2 lands. And then we draw the map. And we play the map. Ah, there we go. There we go, yeah. Definitely just I put that up to the nighttime streaming for sure. But overall, the deck list was sweet. Really happy with it. Like, powered through a lot of different matchups. Like, we played against... Well, I guess we played against Delver and Blue Black Scam 4 times and Mono Black Oops once, but not too bad. Deck was cool. Like, I kind of felt like the Nantukus were out of place, but once you play them, it's just nice to have like a different engine in the deck that is relied on lands to some extent, but isn't relied on them really doing anything other than coming into play, which is cool. The Vexing Bauble definitely came up because I think our Delver opponent, who wasn't really playing any lands or any threats, probably had at least a Force or a Daze in hand, so getting that Uro down was really nice. Talons didn't come up in a great way. It does buy time, like it bought some time, but we lost those games. But I think as you spread your games, you're going to find Talons is quite good. There is a world where potentially a Blast Zone could be in here, but yeah, not going to cop any of that after 5 games. The mana base was really nice. I don't think we really had any issues there. And the sideboard felt fine. Like against Delver, there isn't too much other than Flusters, but I think against Delver you're going to be pretty heavily favored anyway. So just having some sort of out to like maybe a bounce effect or a meltdown covered by Flusterstorm is really nice. So that's pretty sweet. But a huge thank you to Panda for sending it through. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun and definitely a deck that I would probably not play in paper just because it's 80 cards and I'm not a big fan of shuffling 80 card decks, but otherwise, yeah, I think it'll be back on the channel probably in the not too distant future. I'm going to see who else is streaming and send you over there. I believe Mengu is streaming, which is cool. So I'm going to send you to Mengu's stream. But if you all want to find me, you can find me on Twitter, find me on YouTube, you can find me on Discord. But for now, I'll raid. Thank you again. Enjoy your weeks. I'll be back on Thursday evening, probably back on Mav. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, a huge thank you. Very cool to play a different style of deck and obviously do, yeah, not too bad out of it. So catch you next time.